I love your photo, your Zoom photo. That's so cute.
Thank you. I just use it for cyberbacker photo challenge.
Cute. I love it. Hi, Alexa.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good. I'm going to give it 1 or 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Okay, let's rock and roll. Well, hello, my name is Rachel Vaughn. If we have not had the chance to meet yet, I am your Market Center Tech Trainer. I actually have 4 Market Centers, Excel in Capital Partners in Ohio, and then Elite in Heartland in Kentucky. So if you ever have any questions about anything tech related, command, social media, anything like that, I'd be happy to help you. My email is rachel.vaughn, VAUGHN @kw.com. And my first name is spelled RACHEL. Today we are going to go through getting your client tech enabled. So often we just assume that our clients know what they need to do, or assume that they access an email all the time, or that they understand what signing digitally versus a wet signature is. So I wanted to kind of take you through that whole process and ways that you can help prepare your client to not only have the right tools and apps and resources ahead of time to make your transaction so much smoother, but really gives you that next level service of being very hands-on with them and ensuring that you are tuning your whole process to meet their needs. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you have any questions about anything, always feel free to interrupt. I don't have any problem at all with that. And we'll get rolling. Let me pull this up here. Okay. All right, so I made a little slideshow. So getting your client tech enabled for their transaction, that's the goal for today. See if it'll work here. All right, so for me, when I'm learning anything, when I'm really trying to understand anything, it's the why. So I wanted to give you the why, or a little bit of psychology behind technology itself. Oh, sorry, Alexa, my email is rachel.vaughn@kw.com, and I just put it in the chat. So again, so the why behind tech, aside from it's a part of our everyday life, there is not almost a single human being on this world, infants included, that do not experience some kind of technology almost daily, whether it's hearing it, whether it's using it, whether it's seeing it. I mean, that's our life. So I found some data from pewresearch.org. This is how often US adults are looking at looking at something online. So almost constantly are online, whether that's on their phone or on a computer. 31% of US adults, the adults in the United States, I think this was in 2021, so still pretty relevant information. 31% almost constantly are online. 48% of US adults say they're online several times a day. 6% say they're on about once a day. 4% say they're on several times a week, and 4% say they are never online. Or I'm sorry, 7% say they're never online. So that means 85% of the adults in the US are online daily. So I did a little bit of math based on the 2021 census of people who are old enough to vote. So I count 18 and older as adult for these numbers. So 219.5 million people are online daily. That's daily. So why is that important? Obviously, we're in a tech world. It is what it is. We just have that mindset that they know how to use it. But there's the difference is that just because they use it doesn't mean they're using what we think they're using or what we expect them to use. So my next slide is don't make assumptions. So again, yes, there are 219.5 million Americans who are online daily. That's adults only, but they're not likely to use the tech that we use. Obviously, emails, text messaging, phone calls, probably most likely, but do they use their calendar? Do they, what social media applets do they use? Are they using our applets? Do they use the web? Like, there's so many different options. So you always want to communicate your transaction expectations and then find a middle ground if it's something they're not comfortable with. Occasionally, you may run into certain clients. I've seen this happen more often with elderly clients that they are not comfortable or not quite sure how to navigate signing documents electronically. So obviously that is a huge shift in your process because you can't just send it to them whenever you want. You have to physically take the documents to them, have them sign it, then scan it, then upload it in Command, then send it to the listing agent, so on and so forth. So this is very important to discuss with them before all the craziness starts. And this is on the listing side too. There's 3 times the amount of documents that clients sign on the listing side than there is on the buyer side. So having that conversation up front in that listing appointment, if it's or that first initial appointment or conversation after they've agreed to list with you or buy with you, once you've gotten that agreement signed, really have this deep in-depth conversation about what tools you could be using and if that is something they feel comfortable with using. Just because if you send it to an email, you send them forms to sign and it goes to an email that they don't have access to only at work, and then they can't sign, it just creates a whole madhouse. So again, having that clear, concise, upfront conversation about what they need in order to get this transaction done and as smooth as possible, that's really going to save a lot of grief and heartache down the road when you're in a pinch and don't have time. So I'm not an agent, so I can't say that these are all of the applications that are apps or systems that you would ever use during a transaction. I'm sure there are way more, but just to kind of put it as a visual representation, you have Zoom, you have Dotloop, DocuSign, depending on which one you use, or if you use DocuSign and the listing agent uses Dotloop, you could potentially be using both. Home by showing time, if you're allowing your seller to control the showings in their property, if they're using your KW app, if texting, phone calls, that is an app. Facebook, FaceTime, if you are FaceTiming them, if they're long distance clients, email, if they're using any kind of Google, suite as far as like Excel spreadsheet, anything along those lines, a Google form, if you ask them to leave a review on Google, really anything, their calendar, the web browsers, contacts, you're finding contacts for people if you say they needed, they have to call title or anything like that, like banking, you want to make sure they have access to their banking because they're going to need that for their financing. Instagram, all kinds of social media. I didn't include LinkedIn, I didn't include TikTok, I didn't include a lot of it, but just these are the bare basics that I could think of as far as apps that one person could use in a transaction, and that is a lot. So again, we just often assume that they know and that we are good to go, but let's change that mindset and take it from one step at a time as let's address it in the very beginning so it's not an issue down the road. We want to be proactive, not reactive. Oh, we're going backwards now. Okay, so these are some of the questions that you can ask to really gauge how this is going to go or what works best. So, can we exchange and or confirm both parties' contact information, including the name spelling? So often we misspell names and that can affect a contract or any signature of any form. Their cell phone number, what is the best phone number to reach you at? And what email can you access the easiest? Not what's your personal email. What can you access the easiest? What's on your phone? What can you get on your computer that you don't have to fill out 30 security questions in order to access it? Which one have you accessed within the last 24 to 48 hours, last week, if the maximum, if they're not somebody who checks their email often? Which one is it going to be? If you're like me, I have two different emails. One is all my serious stuff, all my major accounts, my Amazon account, my banking, anything to do with my kids' school. The other email is all spam. If I want to sign up for a coupon for a store, it goes on that one. So I don't look at the one very often, but I do the other, and they are both on my phone, but that might not be the case for everyone. So really figuring out what best communication pieces you have and making sure you have it all. Same goes for you. You want to make sure that they have your best contact information as well. So that way, you know, there's clear course of action, add it to their phone, save it to your phone so you make sure you have it before you leave. Next one is, what is your preferred method of contact? If they never check their email address, emailing them 300 questions a day is not going to get you very far. So you need to know what is their preferred method of contact. And then you could go another step further, and is there any time of the day that works better for you than the others? So it could go a lot further than just preferred method. And then what is your most commonly used email? Again, which one can you access the easiest? When was the last time you logged into that email? Again, that gives you a gauge of how frequently they check their emails. If they say a week, every time I send them a document to sign, I'm either going to call them or text them and say, hey, I sent it to this email address. Please look at it. This is what you should expect from me, or from DocuSign or Dotloop, whatever it is. But that, again, just in my brain gives me the expectation of how they react to technology. And then the question, turn the tables on them. What are your expectation of tech usage during this process? Do they expect to see all the social media marketing? Do they want to? Do they expect to sign documents digitally? Do they expect to check their email every day? Like, get their expectations so you can openly communicate, because you don't know what you don't know and they don't know what they don't know. So until you cross those two, then you're going to come to a better ground. And then again, do you want to see all the digital marketing? Some clients, for listings specifically, they want to see all of that right from the get-go. So having the ability to share that with them and know that they want it, that just gives that, again, one step level up, white glove service. They're going to appreciate you sending it to them directly so they can see it for themselves rather than them having to search and find it. So then the last one I have on here is present electronic signing, leading with the value before asking if they're comfortable with it. Just off the brain, if you said, are you comfortable with signing legal documents for the biggest transaction of your life online? What do you think most people are going to say? It'd be a hard no, because we all know technology can be dangerous. Let's be real. I will say that as a tech trainer, it can be dangerous if not used properly. thankfully we have the tools to do that, but we need to convey that and use, I don't want to say simple words, but more layman's terms. So it's not overwhelming if they are not tech savvy people. So this is kind of what I typed up. If you think that's too wordy or too long, you can try and simplify it. But this is what I have. Typically, the paperwork for your transaction will be handled digitally and is secure and specific to you and your transaction. By using this secure digital system, this allows you to sign documents anywhere at any time. With the speed of today's market, this can make or break your offer. That is kind of my punchline. Like, if you don't do this, you could potentially lose out. So that's kind of my way to drive it home without being rude or unsympathetic to what their preference is. Although it is digital, it is simplified to meet anyone's needs. All you need is an internet connection and an accessible email address. Are you comfortable with signing your transaction documents digitally? So just to bring it home and try to think of the mindset of somebody who is terrified of tech or really doesn't think they need to touch it or thinks it's not a part of who they are or what they can do, is breaking it down. It is so simplified. DocuSign, when you send it, it is literally click and it tells you where to sign. Same thing with dotloop. So it is very easy for them to use. So I want to take all of the digital system and digital paperwork and simplify it. All you need is internet and an email address. That's it. That's all they need. So really drive that home with them so that they're clear on that they're going to be signing legal documents, big legal documents, but it's digital. But don't scare them with it. Word it in a value add way. That way they fully understand why it's more beneficial for them to sign it digitally than it is a wet signature or a pen and paper. Just because so often that those people that have that mindset, which rightfully so, typically they have been victims of fraud or they just purely don't believe in it. That's their choice. We don't want to force them into anything. We don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, but telling them and really showing them the difference it can make in time frame right now can really change the outcome of their offer. So just so you are aware. And then if they are not willing to do this digitally, you need to assess yourself what access you have to the scanner and how often you can access it, because you do have to scan those and send them to, email it to the listing agent or the buyer's agent, whichever side you're on. And then you also have to submit it to the brokerage for compliance. So a lot of things to think about based on what kind of technology they're willing to use. And then, okay, so my list of recommendations. So during an in-person meeting, check all their tech. Get their phone out, get their laptop out, their tablet, whatever they're using. Make sure they have a full list of what they will need to use and make sure they have it. If you are Zooming, if there's somebody who is a little more COVID conscious, or if they're out of town or out of state, you're going to be Zooming or FaceTiming with them a lot more. Obviously, if they're an Android user and you have an iPhone, that's not going to work. You're either going to need to do Facebook Messenger or download Zoom or Skype or whatever option that is, but really assess. I mean, it can get down literally to the type of phone that they use. So I feel like this is something that could easily be brushed off. And then it creates a lot of panic at the time of need, just because everything is so fast paced right now that having your ducks in a row is really going to make a difference as far as transaction process for you and for your client. And that's going to make your client happier, and that's going to keep them coming back. So have a list of apps that they must have. Make sure they have their email, make sure they have access to it on their device of choice, if not all devices, because you never know. Home by showing time. If you choose to use this app, this gives the seller the ability to approve or deny showing requests in showing time. If that's something they want to do, that's something you want them to do, then make sure they have that downloaded on their phone or their tablet. I don't know if you can do it online or not. I'll be honest, I'm not sure, but that's something you could look into. Zoom or FaceTime, Facebook Messenger does Zoom or does video chats. Snapchat does video chats. There are multiple platforms that you can use that if you don't have compatible phones to work around that are free. Zoom is free. Most of all of you have it because you're on it right now, but it is easy and free for your client to use as well. They don't have to have a paid account or anything like that. And then just an idea that I love QR codes. I feel like COVID made everybody QR code savvy, whether they liked it or not, because you went to a restaurant, you scanned a QR code, you did anything, you scanned a QR code, I feel. But you can actually create QR codes that add your contact information to their phone. So if you wanted to put it on your listing or buyer presentation or any kind of flyer or packet or anything that you give them, say, hey, scan this. We're going to add my contact information. That's one less step that they have to do as far as typing in your information. That minimizes your room for error as far as them adding the wrong information into their phone for you. So just a option for you. And then check they can access their personal apps. So while it is imperative that they have all your apps ready to go, you need to make sure that depending on what they want as far as tech usage during their transaction, you need to make sure they have access to these apps of their own, just to make their side of the transaction go easier. Again, email access, I cannot stress how important that is, because if you are sending them documents to sign digitally, it will go to their email. So, and the lender is going to send everything. If title has anything, they're going to send it to them via email or call them. Usually just depends on the person. But I can remember back to when I bought my house, everything was via email, almost everything. So just make sure they have email access. If they don't have an email, you're going to want to set one up with them. Bank access. You know, again, so much of this is digital now. You can view your bank statements on if your bank has an app for your, iPhone or Android, you can most likely review that stuff. So make sure they have access to that just in case they need it for lending. Calendar access. If you're scheduling calendar meetings on your calendar with them and you're sending them calendar invites, make sure they have access to their calendar. And then social media access. Again, if they want to be able to see your Facebook posts about it on the business page, they are going to have a Facebook account unless you are taking screenshots and sending it to them. So I'm not saying you have to go and set up all of their social media accounts, but if they have a Facebook and they want to be able to see your Facebook posts, make sure they can log in. Just, make sure they have access to it. Or if they lost their phone and got a new one and they don't remember their Facebook password, that's where things get tricky. And then you get down in a rabbit hole. Just make sure they have access to the social media accounts you want them to have access to. So here's your workflow when it comes to tech. I'm going to make sure that everybody's in here. Okay. So explain. Why is it important to have these apps and systems set up? Once they know, the more they know, the more likely they are to use them. Show them. Walk them through everything to give them next level service. Show them how to use it. If they are not comfortable with opening their email on their phone, you better make sure their password is saved on their computer. Any little extra things that you can do to make their process easier is going to ultimately make your process easier. It's going to build that rapport with that client, and future big picture hopefully will generate more business once they're ready to buy or sell again, or get a referral out of them. And then the last one is remind them. Just because you tell them once does not mean they'll remember in 2 weeks. Not gonna happen. Just I have a little bit of experience in this. They may not, most likely will not remember. So always communicate and remind them where things are and how to find them. Just because you show them on day one how to access their email does not mean in 2 weeks when you finally get that contract submitted or sent to them to sign that they're going to remember how to access that. So when if their preferred method of contact is a phone call, you're going to send them their documents in DocuSign or .loop. Then you're going to call them and say, hey, so-and-so, I just emailed you your contract to sign. Go to this email address. It is a Google email, just depending on what their tech literacy is. I don't want you to insult them, obviously, but hey, remember we set this up 2 weeks ago. Go to your computer, go to your tablet, grab it on your phone, and follow the steps. You'll be good to go. Call me if you have any questions. Just again, explain, show them, remind them how to do it. Explain, show, remind. And that will really be a circle. So this should be in a circle because it's going to repeat over and over again until you're done. And then last but not least, a little cheat sheet goes a long way. So this whole transaction, as many of you know, is a huge roller coaster. Keeping track of where things are, what things belong to what, especially if you have to submit multiple offers, it can get overwhelming and it can get muddy on where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. So having a little cheat sheet for them, hand it to them physically, send it to them digitally to know what apps are for what, where they go to find things is going to make life so much easier. So I took the liberty and I created a template for you guys in Canva. It is free to use. It's not going to cost you anything. If you don't have a Canva account, it's really easy to set up. Again, Canva is free, has a free version, so you don't have to pay for it to use it. So if you scan that QR code with your phone, so you'll take your phone, you'll turn your camera on, and then you will scan, put the camera closer to the QR code, hence the QR code. I love it. And it should pop up on your phone. And then you're just going to click on the link and it's going to give you the template. So I will show you quickly what the template looks like. So this first page you'll see is the guide. Read this first. So read everything on the sheet. That way you know it sounds like you and everything's spelled correctly. I try to spell everything correctly. I think I'm a pretty good speller, but sometimes my fingers are faster than my brain. So it may not always be spelled correctly or in the right order. So just, I'm human. I have errors, I have flaws. So double check everything. At the bottom of the sheet, which I'll show you shortly, has an area that you can enter all of your contact information, your headshot, your name, your email, your phone number, your brokerage logo. If you have a team or a personal logo, you can add it. If you don't, just delete that little glowy text there. So you can add that information. You can really change any of this. If you want to change the colors, if you want to change the pictures, anything like that, you can completely customize this, but I've went ahead and built it for you. So if you're not super creative or have the time to do this, then it's pretty much built for you. And then you can just add any extras that you need to that's missing. So yeah, add what's missing, add, delete, edit, whatever your heart content. Everyone is getting the template link. So you don't have to make a duplicate of it. This is your version of it. Nobody else is going to edit it or change it or anything along those lines. So don't worry about messing up mine or anybody else's because it's your version. So basically making a copy for you. How to find your app link. So on the graphic, which I'll show you shortly, has a link for where you can put your KW consumer app link. So I told you on here how to find it. So you'll log into command, you'll go to consumer applet, which is the very bottom one on the left, that little gray panel on the left. It's at the very bottom. And then you can, you click on that, you go to site and app settings and then URLs. and then you'll just copy and paste that URL for your app and paste it into Canva. And then to download this, once you are done and you like what you have, you're going to click share at the top right-hand corner. You're going to click download. You're going to choose under file type. You're going to choose PDF print. That's going to give you the best quality for printing, and it's going to fit the whole sheet. You're going to want to change the pages to just page 2. So just unclick page 1. You don't want this template one here. And then color space, you can leave it RGB. That's not going to affect anything. And then you're going to click download, and it will show you that it's loading, and then it will save to your downloads or wherever you have set up your computer to save. So just to show you, any questions, always email me or call me. So just to kind of show you the template, let me see if I can get rid of this to make it. So it says, know your apps for home success. These apps will help you accomplish one of the largest transactions in your life. Please reach out if you have any questions. So email, you'll receive documents for signing through email. You want to ensure you are using the email is most accessible, communication, signing, marketing, just to cover the basics. Again, you could add more here if you wanted to. You can delete them if it doesn't apply. Want to download a really great app. It is Android and Apple compatible. Search your app store for, this is the name of your consumer app, KW with the colon, buy and sell real estate, or you can go to this link and they download the app and create an account, and it'll be branded to you. But again, all of that agent information is down here at the bottom. Kentucky, I don't know if you need any extra, I don't know what the compliance is for marketing pieces, but I went ahead and put the fair housing, realtor, and MLS logos on here, and each office is independently owned and operated. Do not delete these. Do not delete these. These are your compliance savers. So try to look out for that for you. But go ahead and you can edit all of this information, add your own contact information, your headshot, all of that, and then download it. So I wanted to give that to you guys just as something a little extra that you can share with your clients and hopefully help them understand the best ways to use technology. Do I have any questions? You can either come on and speak it out, or if you want to put it in the chat, that works too.
All right, now is it mandatory that we have our clients for listings have the home the showing time app, or is it just if they want to yay or nay or somebody?
It is totally optional. It's not required for you to use that. I do know some agents use that feature for their clients just to make it a little easier, so you're not really the middle person for those type of things. But again, it's totally optional. It's not required, but it's just something that I was trying to think of all the apps you could possibly use during a home transaction, and that was one of them. So that's why I added it on there. But again, it's totally optional for use.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
My pleasure. Alexa, yes, I will share the recording. I always upload them, or Sanrio always uploads them to the KW Synergy YouTube channel, which I will link really quick for you in the chat. So you can always find my trainings there. I record all of them, and we always upload them and share them with you all just so we have it. So that goes for Excel, Elite, Heartland. I mean, really, if you're at Cap Partners, you can find everything there as well. It doesn't really matter. It's a YouTube video. So any other questions?
And our KW logos, those are can be found on Command, correct?
They should be, if you don't have access to them, I can send them to you.
I mean, I feel like I have them somewhere, but I just don't remember how I got to them last time.
I don't know if we shared a drive with you or not. I'll resend them to you just to be safe.
Okay.
Alexa, do you need any logos, or Bonnie, do you need logos?
My Alexa just answered you.
Mhm.
Yes, I would like them as well. This is Bonnie.
Okay, I will send those to you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Awesome. Alexa, what brokerage are you at? I just want to make sure I got the right one for you. If not, I can always look you up. Okay. You're Buffy's assistant. Perfect. Okay. Well, that will take care of it. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I will get that uploaded, and then I will, Alexa, if you want to send me your email, or do you want me to just send them to Buffy, which would be easier? Oh, perfect. Awesome. Okay. I will get everyone's logos out to them. And if there's anything else you need, let me know and I will happily help. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this and this was helpful. And as always, if you need me, you can just shout.
All right, thank you, Rachel.
My pleasure. Bye, everyone.